plus
the Caca-Wisp.
IO plus Undying, and you put a Soul Rip on top. That's a ton of healing. You say who's going to do the healing? Well,
We don't know.
don't need a mech now.
Yeah. Oh man, and it's like I said, it's not any wisp. Caca-Wisp
It's Caca.
is infamous right there. Oh man. All I asked at the beginning of the day, where has it been? Where has it been? I figured LGD might have been one of the teams to pull it out, but it actually is going to be Ehome here, and this is it. This is going to be our last best of one. The winner of this gets to move on to face Liquid in a best of 3 lower bracket matchup. The loser, well, they can watch like everyone else and enjoy the hotel and the Singapore atmosphere. With that said, though, we're going to go ahead and hop into the game now. Let's send it over to our 2 casters. It's going to be LD and Merlini going to be joining him right now. Gentlemen, take it away.
Thank you very much, Kato Guy. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. We are live here in the Suntec Exhibition Center getting ready for Cdec to take on Ehome. Ben, this is a crucial match for both teams. Cdec, as always, going with their tried and true stable drafts. They get the Shiki lead nice and early. They do opt to change things up a little bit here with the Earthshaker off lane, but you and I were talking about as the draft developed, that 5th pick from Ehome, it looked like they could have gone for a very heavy pushing lineup, so perhaps Cdec worried about that. They get a little extra deep pushing control from the Earthshaker, and then Ehome throws them a bit of a curveball with the IO. Thoughts on the draft overall?
I think the Shaker was pretty safe, though. They really needed some anti-push, especially considering how Ehome has been playing. They've ran Wisp without any usual partners, no Gyro, no Tiny, no Bristleback, so it's not that off the wall for them. I also saw them run Chen in the group stage, so they kind of like their sustain and maybe using the DK as a siege engine for later in the game.
Cdec grouping up near the tower for the time being, playing it very safe. As our Ehome looks like both teams just want to secure their bounty run. So we're going to look at the lanes here, a Dragon Knight mid up against the Shiki Lina, who is going to get this early bounty rune. Do you expect a lot of help for the Dragon Knight, or is he just going to have to suck it up?
Depends on what they want to do with the Wisp. They can either, play the normal mid Wisp where you babysit your mid, you harass against the Lina, and then you stack at the same time, or you can kind of pressure the off lane a lot with the IO. So it's a really tough matchup for DK, though. Looks like he's going to need some sort of help.
And for now, the help is not there. Lanham's heading off towards the bottom lane. It's going to be an Undying IO dual lane in the off lane. Very unconventional. How well do you think this is going to go?
I think it's actually pretty decent. Undying's notoriously hard to kill, and they don't actually have that great of a way to kill him. Maybe once they get level 2 chains, but that's going to be a few minutes in. And in the meantime, we see CTY with a super easy matchup against the Earthshaker. So that's actually where Ehome's going to win out the most in this early game.
Well, tri-lane here for Cdec early on. It's going to be the 1v1 mid, and Shiki, the master of Lina, looking to take advantage, just really punishing Old Chicken as he walks up even near the creeps. He will not be allowed to farm these freely. Meanwhile, bottom lane is the offlane Shaker, of course, can always get his levels from that fissure. Did stop for the boots first here. Lanham's gonna smack him a couple of times, gives him a void in the rear for good measure. But XZ will just continue to leech off experience wherever he can.
Old Chicken's one of the few mid laners that don't usually get a stout shield on his mid melees. Whenever he plays Bristle, it's just a straight bottle rush with maybe 1 or 2 branches, similar with his Dragon Knight. And Shiki's already way ahead in terms of CS, and Old Chicken is really going to need the 2-minute rune or Bottle Crow or something to sustain up in this lane.
Oh my goodness, aggressive getting a zombie claw to the face. That really hurts. Just look at Shiki mid lane, he continues to pressure Old Chicken. Has the salve available, gonna use it now. But still Old Chicken farming quite well, all things considered. 5-0, he's got his bottle, he's throwing it back and forth, or walking it back and forth for now. Doing the best he can in this lane, so overall, do you feel like the teams are doing what they should be in the laning stage? Does anyone need to be making adjustments here early on, Ben?
Well, Ehome want to keep the Spirit Breaker on top. If it's Spirit Breaker plus Lina in the mid, then DK is going to get extremely dominated. So it's important that they keep up this pressure in the top lane and kind of waiting for 4 minutes to break out with the Night Stalker, who's simply getting some levels in the bottom lane. I think it's going all right for both teams. I think that DK's maybe not as shut down as they'd like, and Ember's not getting as much farm as they'd like to.
Moving on to Garter here, 11 gets aggressive, continues to smack him, does have to charge, but 11 wants to force it out. Get out of here! So much for Spirit Breaker being aggressive here on the lady stage. He keeps on diving, and he will have a Soul Rip available. Garter down before he can even cast a charge. I don't think he expected him to go quite that far, but Cdec, in the end, will be hemorrhaging a first blood to Ehome.
I really like the aggro duels with Undying +1 and Wisp is you know, a lot.
This lane is really strong. I don't know if I've ever seen an IO Undying dual lane, but it works incredibly well.
Yeah, that's really problematic. Now, what does the Spirit Breaker do? He has to maybe try and charge somewhere before the 4-minute mark, but we see. I mean, they can potentially like get a TP on Queen of Pain too, and then once that level 6 comes, this tri-lane just might completely fall apart.
Oh, Chicken, he really wants these creeps mid, but quite literally playing with fire to get them as Lena will torch him a bit on the way back. Courier will now arrive so he can resume farming. The other good news for Ehome is in addition to their dual lane top doing well, they also are having a total free farm Queen of Pain in the safe lane. 22-3. You compare that to aggressive December, 7-2. It's clear that when it comes to the side lane trades, Ehome are coming out way on top.
Yeah, and Night Stalker was able to just get his level 3 pretty much uncontested in the bottom lane, and XZ is really struggling in terms of CS 4-0. But that's what CTY does best, win his lane, and he's winning it very, very hard.
There's the tether forward from Kaka onto 11. Ehome moving 4 heroes up towards that top rune. It will be a regen battle by the IO. Big opportunity here to get aggressive. CTY continues to push in the lane. XC still getting his levels. Things considered not too shabby considering the matchup. Very leisurely pace here through the laning stage.
CDC had no eyes on the top lane though. Both their observer wards are like in the mid and bottom, so they have no clue that the Night Stalker. I mean, they can kind of expect it, but he's been pulling forward the first 4 minutes of the game, so they might still consider that he's playing a little bit greedy. But he would probably be level 4 at this time, so I think that they're kind of expecting a move right now.
Oh, they're diving. Here we go. Hey, Q, I got a little surprise for you. It's called the Tombstone. He's trying to TP out. Will Q make it in time? Yes, he will. Beautifully played. Handles it nicely. Meanwhile, mid lane onto Old Chicken. There was a charge from Garter. The crowd really enjoying that one. Nice round of applause for the Dazzle. But still, in some ways, Ehome a win anyway, as they're putting a ton of pressure on this top lane. Ember still really not farming at all. 10-4 CS, only 2 CS a minute, Ben.
XC's trying to make a move around, and they need to get something else on the map. Their top lane's just getting destroyed, and Shiki's the only one that's doing well, and
They
XC
had
can't
a
do anything.
ward. I'm not sure if they saw this, but XZ. Oh, they get the vision out from the charge. Fissure perfectly planted. Laguna Blade coming in hot. Old Chicken will be tossed in the rubbish. Now Shiki, though, may be punished. Great counter gank from CTY. And even the IO comes in. All of a sudden, it's a big old dog pile mid. Score now equalizes 3-1 as Ehome strikes that.
CDC are feeling the pressure of Ehome's early game, though. They're desperate to make these moves, and it's like halfway in between the T1 and the T2, and it's during the nighttime, and you can just see that they're like, okay, we have to do something about these lanes. We can't.
Do they really want to dive
let it go
11 here? Yeah, that's not happening.
And Ehome hasn't been stacking at all. They've been kind of committing all their resources to shut down CDC's farm, especially the Ember Spirit. Not an early BOT rush for him.
Charge comes out, connects on 11. Garter's here, but the Io's there to turn it. They get the Tombstone out. 2 hero chains. Will they burst them in time to Soul Rip on Kaka, keeping him alive? Zombie stacking up. Now 4 heroes coming in as Q will try to TP away. He doesn't make it. The Undying gets the kill. Then the Night Stalker, as they just ignored the Tombstone, and they're fighting back into it. Garter charges past it. It will now expire. Lanham getting stunned. The chains there as well. Aggressive. Good fighting, but Lanham sprints away. Fissure closes the door. XC slams it in his face, and down he goes. Man, these teams are roaming a lot early. 8 heroes top, I think that was.
Yeah, Undying also with like 8 decay stack.
That was scary.
That could have been so much worse.
Still
Though.
does.
If he didn't get the Soul Rip out, I think that would have been like a clean 3-0. But Old Chicken's, you know, he needs his time to recover, and CTY didn't have his Sonic Wave up, so they also have no more vision up in that top lane. Their Observer Ward died.
And Aggressive still not level 6. This is a dangerous time for him. He's going to tank the decay. The Spirit splashing through. 1 more. Keep on going. Chains are there. And 11, I think he dives for this. Drops the Tombstone. Trying to get the vision through the trees. Aggressive. Put on those Nikes. No chance. Death by the zombie. Once more. And I'll TP away.
That's bad. Shiki also tried to TP top, but he canceled his TP, realizing that he didn't have any opportunity there. Because she's their main like heavy hitter at this point in the game, especially with Ember Spirit being only level 5.5.
You know, Shiki had that Dragon Knight versus Lena matchup, seemed very one-sided through the lane, but he's been forced to rotate enough here that he's not farming all that well. They didn't have the stacks on the side of Cdec either. Only 39-8. You compare that to CTY, who's also been ganking, but a bit more efficient with his time, Ben. He's 51-11, and on top of that, sitting at a very pretty 0-0-2. No deaths yet.
Yeah, that's the benefit of having the Queen of Pain, though. She will connect on those ganks because of the the luxury of having to blink. With Lina, she can't really chase people down, especially like a Night Stalker or someone who's tethered up. So she really needs to be able to either get the Yules or get some kills in the early game, but Ehome's not really giving them any space. Pressuring towers all the time with Dragon Knight's ultimate.
Phaser on the mid lane. They do connect here for Lanham. Laguna committed. Cheeky zaps him. Vampire down. I thought it took Garlic, but apparently not.
It's almost level 6 on the IO too, so those kind of moves are going to be really, really painful for the Lina.
So looking at Cdec overall, what are the adjustments you see them needing to make? Because obviously this has not been the start they were looking for with their draft.
I think it's right around now, the 8 to 12 minute before the next nighttime, and just try and get one good relocate on the IO. You need to anticipate his next relocate gank and either like overcommit to a fight. Like if Whisper were level 6 at that point, they'd have to have like 3 or 4 heroes mid so they don't get destroyed by the relocate. So just be very careful about how you move around and maybe bait out Ember Spirit with the Grave.
Well, it is daytime now, so a bit of a breather here for Cdec. Darkness not yet online, only a level 5 Night Stalker, but they continue to keep the pressure up. They have tried to rotate aggressive, give him an easier lane bottom now, and he is beginning to pull back in terms of farm and relevance. Probably needs to do it soon because look at this, Ehome starting to cluster up top lane. Looks like they're going to bring 4 heroes into position. And I'm the only guy not there. He's sitting off bottom.
But we also see an aggressive movement from Cdec in the mid lane too.
Yeah, it is
Looking
daytime.
with 3.
That'll be the ideal time to go for these plays.
It's not that big of a kill though. It's on a Night Stalker and it's going to be during daytime, and I don't even know if they're going to get this kill.
They can't transition into a tower even if they do get it, whereas Ehome are going to take one. But there's your fissure, trapping out Lana, follow stunt there. Laguna again, that's some serious hate from Cheeky. Feels like every Laguna's been on the Night Stalker this game, but they do get the kill again. The trade though will be Ehome easily and comfortably grabbing a tier 1 top. Relocates online, Ben. I don't know if they're going to give this one up freely. They'll TP 1 towards mid. They ping out Q. It goes off to retreat, but yeah, you see the differences. Cdec can't go for the objectives.
Yeah, I think that exchange was actually more beneficial to Ehome, even though Cdec get a kill out of it. Because now, like, they're going to be heavily pressed during nighttime to kind of protect their own jungle. They have one Observer Ward, but with that T1 already down, they can approach from multiple angles, and they're not going to feel safe anywhere on the map. And the Night Stalker is going to be controlling this Ember Spirit.
Ehome with the comfortable early advantage, but we have seen them with a couple of these drafts where they're designed to win the lanes, they get ahead early, and sometimes they struggle to close it out. Cdec also a team that has shown quite a few comebacks over this tournament and in recent history. Definitely not a situation where Ehome have won by any stretch, but the laning stage has gone well now, and they start to bring their next items into the picture. We're going to see a Yule Scepter under construction for CTY. 11, looks like a possible mech being built up by him. The urn's already complete on Kaka, Old Chicken. Oh, we'll see. It seems like the Blink Dagger is the popular Dragon Knight item nowadays. And, or potentially some other form of combat item like a BKB. Carter charges in, top lane, Old Chicken doesn't see it coming. He will get connected on initially, but they need a batch if they want to go for this, and there is a relocate. Not gonna happen.
They have a deep Observer Ward too. Now it's going to be nighttime for like the next 5 minutes, and that's a really big problem for Cdec. Cdec have a slightly better late game though, and you'd expect the team with Undying to be ahead. Not this well ahead, but still pretty far ahead in the early game.
You know, making their way back through the Cdec jungle. Looking for the wraparound here. They are smoked up and they're about to find Q as he breaches high ground. Hey, how you doing, Dazzle? Brave, no chance.
Night Stalker scouting on mid. They see that Shiki's alone. Maybe
they get the kill on the Lina. He runs into the trees. They're losing sight of him. They drop the tomb. He now tries to tunnel past, but he's not going to make it. He whiffs the sun. Lanham's there. It's going to be a Pixie. He fissure blocks everybody else away, but the Breeze Fire connects over the fissure. Comes the Claw Bolt. They get one. They relocate forward, looking for more XZ. Hounded and more stack. He does. It's a decent one, but they need more follow for this aggressive arrive. Reinforcements are here with the IO down. Old Chicken won't get that safe relocate back. Remnant forward. Bash him around. Smack him down. A dead Old Chicken Dragon. That's something new. Lanham on the way out. Can he escape? There's going to be a chain soon. Has the mana for it momentarily, but Undying's also arriving. They'll grab Carter as well. A 2 for 3. Aggressive now running. But Q caught out. Gets out the weave way too late. Death again from the decay, and now Aggressive, the last man standing. They're even thinking about diving him, but Ehome out of spells. Low on health and mana. They'll have to let him go. A 2 for 4. No mercy from Ehome.
On top of that, Ehome managed to sneak down some wards, one next to the T2 in mid and T2 on bottom. So Cdec, where do they really farm right now? Ehome, they could have chased that, but then they have to deal with the Spirit Breaker during the respawn, so that was actually a really good back by them. It could have been actually slightly worse. They had to use a Tombstone to get vision on Shiki, and if he had died without the use of the Tombstone, I think that fight in the Secret Shop would have been so much worse for Cdec.
Ehome are going to make their way up the ramp, thinking about a push on mid. There's still no Yules complete on the Lina, so she's very vulnerable if she gets caught here. Will retreat down, but walks past the well-placed Observer Ward. Lanham not happy that he's getting dewarded, thinks about a jump forward. Not going to go for it just yet, as we see Aggressive hanging out near the tower. MV5 posturing for both teams, and, well, the big item that could change that. This mech now grabbed by 11. Along with the Yules on CTY. Cdec, they do not want to give this tower up then. Can they hold it?
Maybe waiting for darkness on Lanham, and Cdec, they have to kind of hide under the cover of their tower, but sooner or later they're going to be forced to fight. Undying with a mech, Tombstone up.
How do they take this fight?
Try and blow someone up instantly, but...
Oh, on Chicken, probably not the one you're going to blow up instantly, as Lanham finally makes his move. The rotation, you knew it was coming. Cheeky does manage to stun him. They heal from across the trees, but blasted away by the fiery breath of Old Chicken once more. Ehome pressing down mid now, they'll take the tower. Do they go for 2? Looks like they want to.
They still have dark. I mean, they just use darkness, and Cdec just don't see anything at this point. Again,
they're not really split pushing. They're not taking other objectives. They're trying to hold Ben, and they're failing at that. As XZ is going to get dove back. Pop bolts available. They decide not to use it. Instead, they're going to go for 2. He gets destroyed once more. Darter charging into the fray, but they have the crop bolt still in reserve. Cdec have to be very careful about this, and the dives continue. Ehome threatening to go high ground here because the Ember Spirit will jump back, but as he's zoned away, Ehome are freed up to continue their push.
The high ground's way too early at this point. They can easily get good.
I meant for kills, not for taking their X. They were thinking about a remnant forward from Aggressive, getting up the chase, and the crop bolt's there, and hits on 4! CTY with the massive plays! They try to finish on Old Chicken. Shiki will barely be able to do it, but now Lanham rushes in again on to Shiki. The Graves there. XZ looking for the counterplay. Can't quite finish the job. Blink, and a scream. Gotcha! CTY strikes again. Insane damage output in that fight, and Garter says screw it, I'm going in. Charges deep onto 11, the relocate back now from the IO. Dash knows the Void's gonna interrupt the auto attack. CTY, can he get another? Garter backing off, there's no charge. IO's back into the fray now. They do stun CTY, trying to hold him in position. Lanham charging forward, Cdec getting bullied and beaten. They'll try to find Garter here as well. The air charge gets canceled. CTY finds another. That's 3 for him. Shaker down as well. An endless slaughter in the shadow of the tier 2 with 2 buybacks apiece, 1 for each side. It ends up being a 3 for 5, a dieback on the Spirit Breaker. Not done yet though. Lanham looking for more. There's the Yule Scepter setting up. Aggressive, does he have a remnant now? No, he gets silenced. Can they save him? The Graves there will allow him to hang on for now, but they stun him. They control him, and he may just die. Jaunt's back, not gonna happen. That's a 4th kill for CTY. Now 5, 0, and 7. My God, talk about a one-man wrecking crew.
Ooh, that was like the most painful 5 minutes you could go for. As
just sitting there getting paddled the entire time.
I mean, it's kind of like they don't want to fight versus nighttime, but their lineup is suited that you kind of have to, and no one's going to be able to farm out safely versus a Night Stalker.
Yeah, apologies about that, guys. The Dota client got reset, so just want to look out for the players here as far as the sound goes. Well, Ben, how do you settle down?
You have to kill the Wisp. The Wisp is like kind of gives them 6 lives during the team fight. CTY was out of mana, and then he like fought back on the Wisp, relocated, and fed him like 400 mana, and he was able to clean up I think like 2 or 3 more heroes because of that. And Wisp is still a strong hero. You don't necessarily have to have an ideal Wisp partner with makes use of the overcharge attack speed and whatnot. Just having him as a mana and HP battery is good enough. Kill him quickly. Laguna him.
Comes the smoke from Cdec. Shiki leading the way now, but Ehome are pretty well positioned to dodge this. 4 heroes towards the north now. It's going to be all 5 heading past the tier 1.
But every time Ehome wants to fight, they're either fighting during nighttime or when darkness is up. And they're just, kind of biding their time until 20 minutes, which is the next point in the game. Cdec, they don't really have the damage output to go for a Snake Roach, which is kind of what you would want at this point. No Medallion up on the Dazzle and not enough damage on the Lina to kind of chew through Roach.
Well, they do have the darkness now, so if they want to fight in another nighttime, they have that option available. Ehome are going to use this opportunity to push down the top lane. It may at least come as a trade for Cdec trying to grab a tier 1, but Ben, this lineup just does not push very quickly without significant farm. Only Lina offers much at all as far as tower pressure goes, and she's just deep pushing mid.
But now they're looking for some other sort of kills. They ordered up Ehome's jungle, hoping for someone to be out there. You know, you charge them, then you either kill them with a Lina or Ember Spirit, and you slowly catch back up by kind of limiting the places that Ehome can go. But I don't really think Ehome's interested in farming their jungle. They haven't really stacked at all this entire game.
I don't think Ehome's very interested in farming, period. Oh, Ehome within the deny there. They just want to fight. They might be the most aggressive team at this tournament that still remains.
Yeah, their 5-man's still incredibly strong. Dragon Knight doesn't really have that many items. His CS is still pretty low, but I guess everyone's CS is fairly low, aside from the Queen of Pain, who has an Orchid now to complement her Yules. So now Ember Spirit's just... What is he going to do now? He has to deal with...
it's like, oh yeah, go for the Manta, but he doesn't even have the Yasha yet. Like, he's nowhere close to...
You need like Manta and Lincoln's, or just a plain BKB to kind of deal with this. There's like 2 sources of silence that are pretty long duration, and a DK stun.
Dragon Knight's getting a BKB. After that, he may just go into a blink, at which point, is that even enough? There's so much lockdown.
Yeah, they do have the Blink Dagger on XZ though. That's kind of a big turning point, and they're gonna all-out commit, you know, to...
Unfortunately, it, I believe, has just been scouted.
Yeah.
So you won't have that element of surprise. It's also only a level 1 Echo Slam. They're not nearly as scary.
It's still what you're hoping for. It's just, you know, that positioning that you need to just blow up the IO, Blink Echo, Fissure into Laguna, and then you can take the fight from there. And he won't have buyback for the next fight.
And they better blow her up, because she's got a Glimmer Cape, they have the Soul Rip and the mech. A lot of ways to keep Kaka alive here, if you don't instantly delete that hero from the fight.
They don't have enough sustained damage though. I think even if they kill the Wisp, like, they still might not win the fight. Like, Lina is not that great at sustain, Ember doesn't really have that many items, and he has to worry about all of these disables. Shaker, as you mentioned, was under level.
Relocating. Oh! Maybe should have gone in a bit sooner with that Blink Silence before the relocate. Timing just a slightly off there. Good reactions from Aggressive though, as he dodges a crucial bullet.
Time to change the pace. 20 minutes.
So round 3 of aggression, I guess, from Ehome now likely to commence, is officially nighttime again.
They kind of need to pick up a gem soon, but Night Stalker's Scepter is actually not that quick in coming. He still needs 1150 gold, and Cdec, this is going to be an unexpected one. You do not expect the enemy to smoke as soon as it hits nighttime. But again, these Observer Ward setup will probably allow them to win this
be
fight.
The difference maker. Hey Lanham, I got a treat for you. No, doesn't get the Yules off, but then they find the Fissure initiation. Laguna from long range. They need more backup for this. Huge commitment from Aggressive. He gets silenced though. Lanham is tanky bullets for the team, and on the backside of the fight, Q's been caught out. They're going to destroy the Dazzle. The Night Stalker will fall, but they've thrown so much at him. They need to get the hell away, and this has made 11 very angry. Finally, the Dazzle does fall. On Cdec, chase onwards. Can they find, Ehome chase onwards. Can they find more? The Yules Orchid combo. Awkward way to start the fight from C2I, but it works. Ehome finding a second, and they blew everything for that. The Echo Slam, the Laguna Blade. It could well be time to say hello to an old friend, Ben. Roshan might be waiting.
Oh, that's super unfortunate. That was a very good maneuver by Cdec, but they unfortunately didn't get the chains out on the Night Stalker, so it took them way too long to kill him, and then on top of that, everyone just TP'd in, and that fight was over as soon as they didn't get the Night Stalker kill.
It was probably the worst hero to fight. Yeah. He's like just out of range of the Yules. If they get the Yules off there, it's a totally different fight, but unfortunately wasn't the case, and good reactions by Lanham to just book it to the left and scurry away. Now they take the Roshan. That's probably something Cdec realizes happening. Q has just gotten into position, but there's really nothing they can do about this. Not with the Tombstone on the high ground and the level of farm that Ehome have.
Yeah, normally at this point, if you're on the losing side of a Night Stalker, you can maybe try and split push, but as soon as he gets Ag's Gem, you're never going to be really able to do anything, and then eventually Queen of Pain will get Scythe of Vice, so like no matter what items you get, you're still not going to be able to farm up. So Cdec kind of forced into this position where they have to constantly fight Ehome because there's pretty much no option for split pushing. Again, their only small chance was maybe smoke Roshing earlier when Ehome were in the top side of the map, but that option is long gone.
Well, Ben, you wanted a gem. You get a gem. Io's now picked one up. Nightstalker eggs. Also complete. Say goodbye to any semblance of vision if you're Cdec. If he wasn't already public enemy #1 for Shiki, he certainly is now.
I don't really know how they're supposed to win team fights though. It's so difficult. Like when you're an Earthshaker against Darkness, you can't even see like any of these heroes that you need to kill. Like Wisp, you'll see his tether, but you won't actually see what the hero is. And the heroes that you want to see, like Queen of Pain, are also just going to be in a position where it's just not going to be the great echo that you're hoping for ever. CTY.
A bold maneuver. CTY getting off the sound of the Garter kills him in front of his buddy. Aggressive cries, sobs softly, but can't stop it. They even relocate. Heavy commitment here, hoping for additional kills. CTY prances onwards, but they are going to be able to set up on the IO bottom. Hello, Kaka, and likely goodbye. Yep, death by 4, but it's a 4-hero rotation just to kill an IO. And it's after they lost their Spear Breaker. They will get the tower tonight, though, and that is a pretty decent exchange in the end.
I don't really think they actually needed the BKB on Dragon Knight this early. I guess they were kind of trying to play it safe because they think that the only way that Cdec can get back into the game is they win a big team fight, but Cdec are trying to fight on their own terms, and having like a Blink stun on Dragon Knight as well as a Blink Orchid on Queen of Pain really opens up your options as the Wisp relocate, and Cdec are actually squeezing more farm than Ehome want them to at this point.
They do match the silence aggressive. Blink was already committed though. They don't have to follow up, and while that's happening, Shiki also maneuvering through his own jungle, but he's gonna run past that Radiant Ward. This has been doing so much work for Ehome. Always scouting the rotations. Now the Quap BKB, my god, CTY is massive. 6-0 and 8, leader in terms of CS, leader in terms of kills, ends assists. He's been everywhere, he's basically done everything. It's not often you see a safe lane Quap have this explosive of a performance, but CTY throwing the team on his back here.
It's not rare for CTY, man.
For CTY, it's not rare. For other players, not so common.
Cdec's still trying to continue with like the super aggressive wars. They had one near like the bottom T2. They have one on the top T1. Just always looking for charge targets for easy solo picks that they so desperately need. But Ehome aren't really giving it to them, and everyone who's kind of out on the lonesome just feels like, oh, I could knight a Spear Breaker here, and they'll just back off. And of course, Cdec have to worry about the relocate if they do commit for those sort of kills.
How do you see the ideal tempo for Ehome? At this point, like they've won the laning stage, they've got a nice 12k gold lead roughly.
Shadow Blade or Blink on DK, and then keep going for picks because Cdec's not interested in fighting. They're just huddling around their T3. They're gonna time down the Aegis and just wait for that perfect opportunity to strike when, you know, they have vision on all of Ehome and can get a jump on like 3 heroes with Echo. It's gonna come at some point if they're patient enough.
Well, there's the Blink that you just mentioned. Is there a timer here for Ehome? Like, do they have to finish this game soon, or do you see them having a long opportunity to
They just
win
need
the
to
game?
keep Cdec's farm under control and with constant picks. And as long as they're like always scared of like a Blink jump into a relocate, then they can't really farm that the way they want them to. But Ehome just have to make sure that they don't give away Roche. As long as they keep getting Roaches, their timeline keeps getting extended and extended.
Run! The zombies are coming! CTY as well. Queen of Pain arrives. There's the silence. Garter, very low. Probably going to tick down here to the poison. It's going to be close. There you go! CTY, the perfect timing. Has the BKB, has the Aegis. They commit the Lagoon on him, but he's coming back for round 2. And with the BKB, can at least back himself away. Could even dive in deeper. Oh, Chicken wants to go. CTY wanted to back him in. That's okay. He's got a BKB too. It's a rampage right through Cdec's old stomping grounds. Welcome to your new home, Aggressive, the Fountain. I mean, Jesus. When they win, they are very quick about it then. Or at least trying to be here. They'll silence Aggressive again. He may have overextended. Stunned up. That's not the Yule Scepter that you were looking for. Shiki. Oh, there's Shiki's Yule Scepter. Okay, well, that's not going to save him anyway. Actually, it was the Quap one on the first initiation, but they get another kill. They say, screw the bottom lane. We're going to go top instead. Ehome taking out, I mean, how many was that? 4? 5? The Spear Breaker, I guess, got away, but
They just play so well around CTY though. Every time he blinks in, his whole team's like right there to follow him, and you know they kind of play as one cohesive unit. They give him a super easy lane, and he also like manages to keep up his farm at a crazy pace relative to everyone else. Like he's actually like it doesn't matter where he goes, he's just massively overfarmed and again with a beyond godlike streak on CTY.
What went wrong for you this game for Cdec? Was it just the lanes? Was it the draft?
Well, so bottom lanes pretty much the auto loss for Earthshaker. There's like almost no way he can win that lane. Mid lane is a win for Lina, so really the only wild card is the top lane, and then they got the super early kill on the Spirit Breaker, as well as just aggressive, always just having to sit back, not able to farm at all as the Ember Spear. And on top of that, they had 3 heroes there. If they had like, you know, if they sacked the lane or something like that, or if there were only 2 heroes with one in the jungle pulling and farming, it would have been okay for them. But that top lane was just such a massive loss to them in the first 4 minutes that Night Stalker just kind of cleaned up and took control because he got free levels and a free level 6 because he was able to pull on bottom.
And that first death was avoidable. He had charge, there was no way to cancel it, but he just didn't expect them to dive so far. So kind of underestimated the willingness of Ehome to get aggressive, and then, like you said, things just started to crumble. CTY, Prowl stop. I mean, he's gonna see 4 heroes. They don't even care. Relocate comes through. Aggressive. He's running away from his Dazzle, and this means there's nothing to save him. Kind of panics in the heat of the moment, though. He may have died regardless. Now, Old Chicken on the hunt. Even has the Yasha for a bit of additional move speed. They're gonna set up here on the Dazzle. Gets off the Self-Grave, but now Lanham's working on Cheeky. Laguna just shrugged off as he continues to hunt forward. They finish off the Dazzle, and now they look for Cheeky too. Sprinting for the well. No escape. Just death. As Ehome will smack down Cdec on the big stage. Ehome! They do it in style, and they end it with a 5-man wipe and a smoke proudly celebrating.
You watch CTY at the end there, he had the Orchid on the Earthshaker as he blinked into, just giving no room for Cdec at all to get back in the game with a big Echo Slam.
That was a very satisfying game to watch, just to see a team like, they get a lead and they just do not let it go. They just close them out, choke the living daylights out of Cdec, and never look